Good morning to all, Madam Chair. Your distinguished and our distinguished President of TTUTA, Mr. Rustan Job, our first Vice President, Mr. Sinanan, and third Vice President, Mr. Martin Duncan, former Presidents of TTUTA, this morning, Mr. Clyde Purnell and Mr. Trevor Oliver and their families. Mrs. Taylor Rubin, Vice President of the National Parent Teachers Association, national officers of TTUTA, elected and appointed, national officers of TTUTA, representatives of various stakeholders in the education system and fraternal organizations, delegates of this 33rd annual conference, observers, members of the media, other specially invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A very pleasant good morning, and it is truly my pleasure to join you all in this very important event in the life of TTUTA. Earlier this month, on October 3rd, I believe, or thereabout, I had the honor of delivering an address at the Ministry of Education's second annual function in honor of our nation's teachers on the occasion of World Teachers' Day that was held recently at the Center of Excellence. In fact, I had noted then that this function has been held, I believe, only since the People's Partnership government, which I represent, came into office. And I had underscored that this was due to my recognition and our recognition, and indeed that of our governments, of the tremendously important role and contribution of teachers to Trinidad and Tobago. Today, therefore, I'm extremely happy to have another opportunity to reiterate the great work that teachers do and have progressively done for our country. So I myself have been a teacher at the university level for the last 25 years of my life. And of course I taught at St. Benedict's College, La Romaine, in about 1967. TTUTA's annual conference of delegates, ongoing for the past 33 years, is indeed an important hallmark of this work. For over 3 decades, this union has afforded the teachers of our nation the opportunity to lobby for better working conditions and an umbrella body in which they should find solidarity and representation of their rights. This is an important role in our democracy, and one which I completely endorse. For without such representation, our teaching service, our teachers, and indeed our country would be lacking not only in the democratic ideals and principles which define us as a people, but also the essential freedoms that are necessary for our continued progress and prosperity. This year's universal theme, which of course is being celebrated today as well around the world, is Take a Stand for Teachers, a theme developed by Education International, as you have heard just a while ago, and which you all are aware of. The Global Federation for Teachers' Trade Unions, and I heard your Vice President indicated 171 such institutions around the world. It is meant, as you know, to recognize the critical importance of teachers and education globally, and of course nationally, which you represent, and their essential roles of providing quality education at all levels in our society. And as we move around the world, there are three essential issues which come to the fore at all times, namely quality of education, accessibility, and teacher training and development. Three essential pillars in the whole education system. In the month of the teacher, the world and our nation are also commemorating this anniversary of the 1966 signature of the UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers, which serves as an opportunity to further promote international standards for the teaching profession. That is UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers. Teachers' unions, and of course by that token, TTUTA, naturally plays a critical role to this end. In fact, we are more mindful of as we celebrate our nation's 50th anniversary of independence this year. For we are reminded that in the past 30 years, when our country was evolving into the progressive nation that it is today, teachers and your union played a great role and continues to play a great role that remains today very invaluable. Earlier this month, we honored, as I mentioned before, the approximately 15,000 teachers employed with the Ministry of Education in our primary, secondary, and early childhood education center schools. And today I wish to reiterate, on behalf of our government and the Ministry of Education, as well as the society as a whole, our heartfelt gratitude to all our nation's teachers and your union, past, present, and even those who will enter the noble profession in the future. As TTUTA meets here once to recommit itself to its founding values of unionism, democracy, and the welfare of teachers, I wish to stress that in the past 2.5 years, the Ministry of Education has spearheaded several new initiatives, all geared at producing a better teaching system with greater rewards for teachers in a concerted effort to develop the professionals that you are in this service. I know that this year and in the past few years, the conference is marked by the ongoing wage issues which are to be resolved. As union members and leaders, you have demonstrated the greatest respect for democracy and the democratic institutions which govern us. So you are aware that, and I'm sure all of you are aware that the Minister of Education has absolutely no say whatsoever in the wage negotiations issues. Now that it is a stage between the independent union and the equally independent Chief Personnel Officer. And you heard just a while ago that a lot of your colleagues are in another place negotiating with the Chief Personnel Officer. I understand that you have passed a significant mark in your negotiations, and that is the issue of the external labor market. I think that was proving to be giving some difficulties in respect of the classifications, etc. But I know that is past, and the rest now depends on the question of the relationship of your grading systems from grade 8, etc. But that's for Mr. Oliver, for Mr. Joe and esteemed Mr. Honourable, you too, and Mr. Pullman, who will probably be giving advice from the sideline. So what I can say at this moment, that while we await a speedy resolution, which I hope is speedy, in the meantime, I sincerely hope that you, our teachers, and our most important stakeholder, TTUTA, will continue to put, and I know that I feel certain that you have and continue to put our nation's children first. All the time, I hear that's correct, all the time. There's no doubt about it. I know that you give your heart and soul to the students of Trinidad and Tobago. I sincerely congratulate you and thank you, and I share your difficulties with you and your experiences that you undergo on a daily basis. And even as I say this, I ask that all teachers and all members of TTUTA continue to join us in our efforts at the Ministry of Education to ensure that as educators we continue to strive to give our children the absolute best environment and facilities for learning and growth that the education system can offer. I know that we are plagued by infrastructure difficulties in our nation's schools, 900, and you all have heard me speak about the issue of more than 100 of our schools are more than 100 years of age, and close to 300 are more than 50 years of age. And 2 weeks ago I had a meeting with our denominational boards, 18 of them, and I asked them to prioritize the list of schools that they want to have reconstructed and the ones that they want to have repaired. And we are also establishing early childhood education centers around the schools if it's possible with the denominational boards. Yesterday, as I checked, we received recommendations from 15 out of the 18 denominational boards. And we'll be working towards ensuring that we improve the infrastructure in all your schools so that we make your environment a pleasing environment for which you can conduct your noble profession of teaching in your schools. I give my heartfelt support, tremendous support to ensure that this is a reality. And I'll be working assiduously with the facilities company that is supposed to carry out this responsibility, whether we do it in-house or we do some projects externally by external consultants as well, to ensure the swiftness of the improvement of our infrastructure. I have previously said on many previous occasions that the Ministry of Education is moving towards establishing an appropriate recognition and reward system to the nation's teachers. And I always enjoin TTUTA to share their expertise and their knowledge with us so that we can make the system of recognition and reward a fantastic way forward to recognize the tremendous contribution that our teachers make. And apart from the promotional opportunities, in our effort to continue to build professional capacity and capability in our schools, next month at the General Appreciation Day for past educators, we hope to get this project initiated and off the ground. Thus far, my ministry has implemented several other training programs, which I'm sure you're all aware of, to ensure that our teachers are up to date with the numerous changes in the curriculum and indeed in the technological world, which dominate all aspects of our society, including the education sector. We have implemented several training programs and courses such as digital literacy, developing interactive materials, teaching of literacy, numeracy and science, use of data-driven instruction, modules in leadership and management, peer coaching, mediation, and other forms of discipline interventions in the past 2 years, while keenly and consistently striving to ensure the upgrade and development of school infrastructure, which I alluded to earlier, effectiveness of janitorial and security services, and safety of each school's environment, which the teachers hold dear to their heart on behalf of themselves and their students as well. We have also empowered teachers by authorizing schools to select textbooks which in their professional evaluation they find most suitable for their students' needs. And this year we followed what you chose with your principals for the textbooks which we have purchased for your schools to the tune of about $124 million. And this hopefully will roll over for 2 years, and we will replace those that are mutilated and lost. And meanwhile, while we set up our textbook evaluation committee, etc., and we'll be guided by your recommendations as well on this through your principals and your supervisors, and through tutor support. When we meet tutor, the Ministry of Education meets tutor once per month, and I have indicated to President Rooston Joe that I feel that we should meet with the minister at least twice per term, and I hope to implement and initiate this. We have been meeting approximately once per term. But without doubt, some of these progressive initiatives introduced and implemented by the Ministry of Education will succeed if our teachers and tutor continue. None of these initiatives will succeed if our teachers and tutor do not give us your full support. I have no doubt that you will indeed do so. For as I have often said, in Trinidad and Tobago, teachers and tutor have a proud history of standing together with the Ministry of Education and working hand in hand with us to ensure the betterment and success of our students, the teaching profession, and the education sector. I have read with great interest in the joint message of UNESCO, UNDP, Education International, and the ILO that teachers are expected to benefit from proper resources and salaries to fulfill their roles. But, and I quote, teachers in turn must be accountable to their students and communities. The teaching profession is encouraged to design and implement teacher codes of conduct based on the highest ethical and professional standards, and to be oriented around the goal of reaching all students effectively and equally, close quote. Just as I have assured that the Ministry of Education under my stewardship is doing its utmost best to ensure that our nation's teachers have access to the best resources possible to execute their jobs, I sincerely hope that today's conference comes with a recommitment of TTUTA and by extension of a wider membership to these ideals. I therefore appeal to the Union to work with us as you have been doing, and even more fervently, to address as keenly as possible the worrying ongoing issues and the ills that plague the system and hamper our progress in education. TTUTA has always played and continues to play a great leadership role in this area, and I hope that you continue with us to fulfill these duties on behalf of our nation's 250,000 children. And I hope that as this conference sees a recommitment on the part of TTUTA and its membership to the ideal of taking a stand for our teachers, they will in exchange pledge to never fail to fulfill their sacred duties to our nation's children, society, and the education sector, so that posterity will always be grateful for your efforts. With these words, it is my honor and privilege to officially declare the 2012 TTUTA's 33rd Annual Conference of Delegates officially open. And I say to you, I pray, and we all pray, that God blesses your deliberations and resolutions with wisdom, patience, insight, foresight, so that in the words of the German philosopher Carl Jung, and I quote, our nation and its people will always look back with appreciation to the brilliant teachers, and more so with gratitude to those who touched our human feelings and thus sowed the seeds for growing the soul of our children and our future. Close quote. May God continue to richly bless all our teachers, students, parents, and us all. I thank you very much.